Welcome to Stories Pulse. Today we're diving into a heartwarming story about love, trust, and the true test of character. Join us as we follow a millionaire's journey to find someone who can see beyond his wealth and discover how a humble waitress changed his life forever. If you're ready for more inspiring and eye-opening stories, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment letting us know your thoughts. Your support keeps us bringing more stories that move and inspire. Let's get started. Alexander March, a young, reserved millionaire, led a life of luxury, wealth, and ease in the heart of the bustling city. While his business empire thrived, he couldn't help but feel something was missing. He had wealth, power, and influence, but he lacked the warmth of genuine human connection. For Alexander, money had begun to feel like both a gift and a curse, blurring the line between friends who genuinely cared and those drawn by his fortune. He longed to meet someone who could see beyond his wealth and appreciate him for who he truly was. One night, Alexander found himself drawn to a small, cozy diner on the edge of town. It was a modest place, barely noticeable in the grand scheme of his luxurious lifestyle, yet it exuded an inviting warmth. As he entered, his gaze landed on a young waitress named Mia. She moved gracefully between tables, offering every guest a bright, sincere smile. Her laughter was infectious, her demeanor kind and welcoming, and she treated each customer with genuine respect. Over the next few weeks, Alexander became a regular at the diner, observing Mia's interactions with everyone. She radiated warmth, extending kindness to every guest, regardless of their appearance or financial status. Slowly but surely, Alexander felt himself falling for her, but he couldn't shake a nagging fear. Was Mia's kindness real, or would she act differently if she knew about his wealth? Determined to find out, he devised a plan to test her intentions. He would disguise himself as a beggar, abandon all signs of his affluence, and see how she treated him. Dressed in tattered clothes with a dirt-streaked face and unkempt hair, Alexander slipped into his new persona as Alex, a man down on his luck, struggling just to survive. He positioned himself by the entrance of the diner, careful to avoid attracting too much attention from familiar faces. It was a chilly evening when Mia spotted him outside, shivering in his threadbare jacket. Her heart went out to the figure before her. Without a second thought, she hurried outside to offer him a hot cup of coffee and a warm smile. "Hi there. Are you hungry?" she asked, her eyes filled with compassion. Caught off guard, Alexander looked up, feigning exhaustion. I can't pay for anything, miss." Mia shook her head. "That's okay. I'll cover it. No one should go hungry." She led him inside, found him a seat near the back where he could warm up, and served him a steaming bowl of soup. Alexander felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude, not only for the food, but for her genuine kindness. It was unlike anything he had experienced before, and he began to wonder if his test was unnecessary. Still, he decided to continue the ruse, curious to see if her kindness would remain consistent. Over the following days, Alexander returned to the diner in his beggar's disguise, becoming a fixture in the lives of both Mia and the diner regulars. Each time, Mia welcomed him with the same warmth, often paying for his meal out of her own pocket. She treated him no differently from any other guest, her generosity seemingly boundless. One evening, as Mia was cleaning tables, Alexander, his curiosity getting the best of him, struck up a conversation. "Why are you so kind to someone like me?" he asked, his voice laced with genuine wonder. Mia paused, surprised by the question. "I believe everyone deserves kindness, no matter their circumstances," she replied softly. "It could be me out there one day, you know. Life can change in an instant." Her answer struck a chord within him, yet it also sparked doubt. Could this be a rehearsed kindness, one she offered to everyone, or was it genuine empathy? Alexander knew he had to see more, a test of character. As days turned into weeks, Alexander watched Mia closely. When the diner grew busier, Mia's patience never waned. If she noticed exhaustion in her coworkers, she stepped in to help without complaint. Once, when another waitress was reprimanded by the manager for a minor mistake, Mia stood up for her, calmly explaining the situation and defending her friend's character. The other staff adored her, but Alexander noticed that her life was far from easy. Mia lived paycheck to paycheck, worked double shifts, and endured grueling hours. Occasionally, he caught a glimpse of her quietly wiping away tears in the back room after a long day. Despite her struggles, Mia never complained or allowed her hardships to harden her spirit. Alexander found himself torn between wanting to reveal his true identity and continuing the test. One rainy evening, after most of the diner customers had left, a well-dressed man walked in, his gaze fixed on Mia. His demeanor exuded arrogance, and the moment he reached her, his voice took on a condescending tone. "Mia," he sneered, "I thought you'd be out of this dump by now. Still playing waitress?" Alexander watched as Mia stiffened, visibly uncomfortable. "I'm happy here, Brad. If you don't mind, I have tables to clear." Brad scoffed, ignoring her words and gesturing to her uniform with distaste. "You could have had it all, you know, but you chose this." His eyes flicked to Alexander, who watched from a corner. Alexander could barely contain his anger as he listened, piecing together that Brad was an ex-boyfriend who had likely left her for someone wealthier. Yet Mia's calm in the face of such arrogance amazed him. She met Brad's gaze, unfazed by his taunts, and simply walked away. As Brad left, Alexander made a mental note. This was a woman who valued integrity over wealth, someone who, despite being belittled, remained composed. One day as he was leaving the diner, Alexander pretended to collapse from exhaustion. Mia ran to his side and without hesitation, she offered to take him to her small apartment to rest. Her place was modest but cozy, filled with small tokens of her life and dreams. She made him tea and offered him her bed to rest, sharing her small meal with him despite her own financial struggles. Alexander was deeply moved, but the weight of his lie began to feel unbearable. While he pretended to sleep, he overheard her on the phone with a friend, explaining how she was struggling to make rent that month. "I'll figure it out," she whispered. "I just can't stand to see someone suffer if I can help." That night, Alexander wrestled with guilt. Here was a woman with every reason to turn him away. Yet she had opened her home and heart, expecting nothing in return. He knew he had to come clean. The next morning, Alexander returned to his usual appearance, dressed sharply in a tailored suit. His identity as the wealthy businessman restored, he entered the diner and found Mia in her usual spot behind the counter. As he approached, her eyes widened in recognition, and she struggled to reconcile the beggar she had known with the man standing before her. "Alex?" she whispered, a mixture of shock and betrayal in her voice. "Mia, I'm so sorry," he began, explaining his reasons for the disguise and his need to know her true character. "I didn't mean to deceive you. I needed to know if you were the person I thought you were." Mia's face hardened, her expression unreadable. "So all those times, you were just testing me?" Alexander's heart sank. "At first, yes, but as I got to know you, it became more than that. I admire you, Mia. I respect you." Tears glistened in Mia's eyes as she processed his words. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that feels? To know that someone watched me at my lowest, my most vulnerable, just to see if I was worthy of their affection?" Alexander reached out, but Mia took a step back, her face filled with pain and disbelief. She turned away, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought you were different, Alex, but you're just like everyone else." Days turned into weeks, and Alexander didn't return to the diner. Mia felt the weight of his absence, a void in her life she hadn't anticipated. Meanwhile, Alexander couldn't bear the guilt that haunted him, realizing the depth of his mistake. Determined to make amends, he returned to the diner one final time. As he entered, he noticed Mia had changed. She carried herself with a newfound strength, a quiet resilience. Taking a deep breath, he approached her, his heart pounding. "I came to apologize, Mia," he began. "You were right. I misjudged you, and I hurt you. But I've come to realize that your kindness, your strength, it's something I can only aspire to." Mia studied him, her face softening. "Alex, I don't need your wealth or your tests. I just needed honesty." Alexander nodded, humbled. "I understand now. If I could have one more chance, I'd do things differently." Mia's eyes held a trace of her former warmth. After a long pause, she offered a small smile. "Then maybe we can start again, this time with honesty." And so Alexander and Mia forged a new beginning, one built on trust, sincerity, and respect. leaving behind the need for tests and proving that true love transcends wealth and status. Their journey hadn't been perfect, but it was real. And in the end, that was what mattered most.